The news at 11 continues with a disturbing story out of Montgomery County. Students found flyers taped up at a high school that say it's okay to be white.
Isn't new.
And now there are some racist online threats connected to them.
Yeah, and in other disturbing news, I was called a pussy earlier this week. What is utterly laughable about this is that they consider, like seriously, harassment of all kinds gets happen. People get called names, get insulted and whatnot all the time. And yet, what's laughable is that this supposed news group wants to bitch about this, wants to freaking put it as breaking headlines, like as if some massive terror attack has just happened, as if it's the equivalent to that. Like, holy shit.
Here's Stephanie Ramirez.
Here's what's going on. Yesterday, these flyers were posted to at least two different locations, the University of Maryland and Montgomery Blair High School in Silver Spring. The high school even caught the poster on surveillance video.
Yeah, and why they couldn't play the surveillance was because there was blood and guts everywhere as the white supremacists tried to pin the flyer up as they got into a fight with a whole bunch of other people that were trying to prevent them from doing that.
When I asked the school spokesperson what was going on, he sent me a web link to an older post that shows this was planned.
Wait, what?
This was planned.
I think what she meant to say was planned, not plant.
This was planned.
But the news reporter cannot be bothered with getting her grammar correct because she's too busy having too much of the plant.
This was planned.
Okay, I'm done having fun with her gaffe. Let's move on.
The page even says what to write. Oh, and the post also says this: we expect the anti-white media to produce a storm about these racist, hateful, bigoted flyers with a completely innocuous message. The media response will rally new support for pro-white activism.
Well, guess what? They're right. And do you really expect anything different, especially when you are saying that these flyers are racist, to kind of give the implication that it is not okay to be white? Much less say it's okay to be white?
Well, this did upset a University of Maryland student who tweeted the flyer with her own message. And being on social media, she got a flood of responses, but she says this also included death and rape threats.
I kind of find it funny that even though that this news group is acting like this is urgent news, and despite with their wide staff of reporters, they cannot find and provide examples of all these death and rape threats.
So now police resources are involved. Prince George's County Police Department, they're investigating. Montgomery County Police are aware of it. And their parents, well, they're over it.
Just evil motivation, and just go back into your hole.
The high school's principal says this was posted to 10 exterior doors to the school and that this appears to be a concentrated effort to foment racial and political tension.
No, it's only racially and politically tense if the person reading the flyer makes it that way. Like, okay, all jokes aside, you guys, let's get serious right now. Like, what the flyer says is not in of itself a bad thing. Like, it's not a bad thing to say it's okay to be white. It's not a bad thing to say it's okay to be black. If the flyer was saying it's superior to be white, well then that, I could see a person like calling that racist, and they probably would be legitimate in saying that. But because the flyer is just saying it's okay to be white, it's not like they are implying that it is not okay to be any other color than white. I mean, the people who say Black Lives Matter, and then the other people who say in response, all lives matter, then the people shouting Black Lives Matter say to the All Lives Matter group, hey, we are not saying that only Black Lives Matter, we're just saying that also Black Lives Matter. Well, if we are to go off of the same logic as WUSA 9 right here, then that would mean that Black Lives Matter is a racist saying, because that means it's implying that only Black Lives Matter. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We need to start reporting about the insanity of people just posting and tweeting online that Black Lives Matter. But again, in all seriousness, there is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with the flyer. But I do have something to pick with the movement behind the flyer. Like, basically, it was a bait by the alt-right to get the media to get a rise out of the media and just prove of how anti-white the media is, to try and make the alt-right's case of, oh look, white genocide. I mean, I seriously hate all this bitching about white genocide. And guess what, media? You are giving them fuel to the fire of their rhetoric. You are making the case for them. The alt-right is against interracial marriage. They are for racial purity, and they are just for white nationalism all in all. They are not for, like, letting society get diverse. I'm not for saying that society must be diverse. Like, don't mistake me. I am not for forced diversity, but at the same time, I am not for white nationalism either. And the fact that stupid people like this news group go talking about issues like this in this way, it just adds fuel to the fire of the alt-right.